The disappearing door. We moved into the house on a brisk autumn morning, the kind where the air felt sharp and clean. It was an old place, its bones creaking under the weight of its own history. But the price was right, and the charm undeniable. Hardwood floors, ornate crown molding, a wraparound porch. It was everything we wanted, except for the door. The door wasn't on any of the blueprints. It stood at the end of a narrow hallway on the second floor, a plain wooden door painted white as unassuming as the rest of the house. But its placement made no sense. The wall behind it, according to the layout, should have been solid. A structural impossibility, the inspector called it, shrugging. Probably just leads to a shallow closet. Old houses are full of quirks. But his eyes lingered on the door longer than they should have. I remember that now. The first time I touched the knob, a jolt, like static electricity, shot up my arm, making the hairs on my neck stand on end. I yelped, pulling back my hand. My husband Alex laughed nervously and suggested it was just cold metal. But the hallway was dim, and the metal felt strangely vibrating beneath my fingertips. He touched it himself. No reaction, no mark, nothing. That night, I dreamed of the door. It stood slightly ajar, its edges pulsing with a dim, otherworldly light. A low hum came from the crack, rhythmic and hypnotic, like a heartbeat muffled by layers of water. But beneath the hum, I heard something else. A whisper, like a name being called, just at the edge of hearing. I woke drenched in sweat, the sound echoing faintly in my ears. Alex had always been drawn to the unknown, the unexplored. He'd spent his childhood poring over maps of uncharted territories, his eyes gleaming with a restless yearning. He'd even talked, once, about disappearing, starting over somewhere new. I'd always dismissed it as youthful fantasy. The days that followed were uneventful, but the door's presence pressed on me, a constant weight in the back of my mind. Alex, however, seemed intrigued. He'd often stop in the hallway, staring at the door with a strange intensity in his eyes. He mentioned feeling a pull, a sense of something waiting on the other side. Then came the night it opened. We were watching TV when a faint creak echoed through the house. The silence that followed felt stretched, taut as a drum skin. The creak came again, slow, deliberate. We exchanged a glance and made our way upstairs. The door was ajar. A soft golden light spilled from the crack, pooling onto the floorboards like liquid fire. The hum from my dreams was back, louder now, vibrating in my chest, pulling me forward. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and something else, something ancient and earthy like petrichor after a storm. "We should call someone," I whispered. Alex shook his head, his eyes fixed on the light. It's calling me," he murmured, his voice barely audible. "I have to see." Before I could stop him, Alex pushed the door open. The light intensified, blinding and alive, wrapping around him like molten silk. Beyond the threshold was no closet, no room, no anything I could comprehend. It was a void, vast and endless, rippling with hues I couldn't name. A low, mournful wail emanated from the depths, and I saw, just for a fleeting moment, shapes shifting within the light, like shadows moving in a fog. "Alex!" I screamed, but he stepped through. The door slammed shut with a deafening finality. I clawed at the knob, ignoring the burning sensation, but it wouldn't budge. The light seeped through the cracks for a moment, then vanished. The door was gone. The wall was smooth, seamless, no sign of Alex, no sign of the door. Just me, alone in the empty hallway, my screams swallowed by the silence of the house. I still live here. The house feels colder now, emptier. The silence is broken only by the occasional creak of the old floorboards and, sometimes late at night, the hum. It's clearer now, a constant thrum beneath the floorboards. I've started leaving the hallway light off at night, just in case.